live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, little impromptu live stream for you all. Just wanted to come on, talk some trades, of course, hear your guys' thoughts and opinions, and even if you're watching the replay, leave a comment and let us know kind of what you want to see, what you're hoping for. So there's a lot of things kind of going on in the trade market. Let's go over a couple things as kind of get some people in. I didn't really promote this live stream, so people start trickling in. But essentially, Lakers are, again, scouring the league. They are, at this point, trying to find creative ways, right? Recent reports talked about Lakers are trying to kind of find bargains, which, I mean, duh, right? Sometimes we get these reports and I'm just kind of like, well, yeah, right? So essentially the Lakers are trying to find creative moves, such as trying to get the draft picks, right? Trying to see if they can turn a first into multiple firsts, which could potentially open up other things, right? So the Seppian rule is something where it was established to where you can't trade picks in consecutive years, right? Well, you don't have to have your own pick. You just need to have a pick that year. So, for example, if the Lakers can land, say, the 2027 pick, which Utah has, well, then now they could trade their 2028 pick and stuff. So if they could turn one first into, say, a 2027 pick plus a 2028 pick or something, then they could potentially trade multiple picks. They could have, depending on which pick selection they have, they could have as many as like 4 to trade by the trade deadline. Kind of feels like two things are brewing right now for the Lakers. Obviously, keep in mind, again, not an insider, just a guy. I'm just going off of the information we have. But two things that seem to really be the consensus, right? Because that's the key, right? There's all this noise, all this, that, and the other going around, right? What is like the general consensus from multiple reports, multiple sources, so on and so forth, right? And it all seems to be Jonathan Kuminga is a very real option for the Lakers. Jonathan Kuminga may end up being a Laker. He wanted the Lakers this past offseason reports said that if he was to end up leaving Golden State last year, and then now it makes the most sense. Jonathan Kuminga also gives the Lakers some type of, because he has a team option, still maintain a level of flexibility that could bring him in. I'm high on Jonathan Kuminga. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy on Jonathan Kuminga. I think he's exactly what we need. One of the things that I talk about regularly that this Lakers team could just use. Obviously, you need two-way play, you need shooting, you need all that stuff. Lakers just need athleticism, right? Like, genuinely, if the Lakers, like somebody like Jonathan Kuminga would have an insane impact for this team just because he's athletic, right? He could go and win 50-50 balls and help rebound and do various things. So to me, Jonathan Kuminga, I think, would be ideal. And this is a guy that has shown he can be a 20-point scorer, right? He has shown that he can go and get you 15 minimum on a bad night, right? Like athletic, two-way versatility, right? And people also forget he was known as a defender coming into the league, right? Like, and his first year or two, that's what he was, basically a defensive assignment guy. Right? So again, he's a guy that can play defense and be a defensive piece that makes some sense for Lakers. And again, if let's say at worst you have to give up a second round pick, I'm not giving up Rui, Connect, and a second for Jonathan Kuminga, right? Because Rui's still really good. But if I could do, if you want to pick, then fine. Let's do Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber in a second, and then you get Jonathan Kuminga that way. And the money matches perfectly, right? So you want to do something like that, fine. But otherwise, if I have to give Rui and Dalton Connect, then, again, it's just, we're taking on the contract. No one wants him. It's all of those things. But Jonathan Kuminga is somebody that I really like. The other kind of consensus is that the Lakers are trying to find type of trade to recoup assets, which then is likely going to pivot into kind of a bigger splash guy, right? It seems like the Lakers are trying to go for a bigger fish than just these little, guppies, right? Like they want a Herb, maybe a Wiggins, a Bridges. They want somebody that can make a significant impact, be that clear-cut starter for you, be that guy that can really be a ceiling raiser for the Lakers. Recent reports came out that Herb Jones wants a Laker trade. That's his preferred kind of scenario, and that he's hoping that the Lakers work it out, right? So I really think, again, I think the Herb Jones trade is unlikely. I've said it from the beginning, unless the Lakers are able to get creative. You go get multiple, you turn one first into three, you take two of those first, you go get Herb Jones now, and then, throw another first, or if, like I said, depending on what first they get and how many. I mean, if you have four first, throw two at a Herb Jones and two at a Miles Bridges, and let's go, let's cook, right? So again, it just depends on what ultimately becomes available. But it's nice that Herb is somebody that wants to come to the Lakers. The Lakers want Herb Jones. And then, again, that defense versatility and stuff like that. Another thing worth noting that I think is kind of funny, which, I mean, you want to put your conspiracy theory tinfoil hat on here for a moment. Herb Jones missed, I think it was 4 or 5 games before the Laker game, played the Laker game, and then has missed every game since, right? So it's like, that's kind of odd, right? It's kind of interesting, unless it's like, hey, we want to showcase this guy for the Lakers, trying to convince the Lakers to steal him, or to take him type thing. So Lakers clearly want a big fish. If you can get a big fish, sure. I've talked about, I want to see the Lakers go for the kind of second tier guys, because I just don't know if the Lakers are going to be able to do what they want to do to get that top tier guy. Again, if you can do it, but I just think a bunch of second tier guys is more reasonable, cheaper, fits into the Lakers assets, and could potentially solve a lot of the same issues, right? Again, don't underestimate the value of 3 or 4 guys you bring in that are all playing different roles, that are, you got to think, you add 3 guys to a team, you almost have an entirely new team, because again, you're only running 8 to 10 guys. So if you add 3 guys to the top 8, right, or one into the top 5 and then 2 into the top 7, right? Like that, again, that's a completely different team. It's a completely different makeup, right? So again, it's kind of nice seeing those kind of things. Also worth noting, Jared Vanderbilt. So I did the video about Jared Vanderbilt, and I had a lot of people go like, what? Like, why Jared Vanderbilt? So Kevin O'Connor talked about this on his show. That's where the news originally stemmed from. Kevin O'Connor talked about Lakers are packaging essentially Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt from people that he's organizations he's talked to, that is, that the Lakers have tried to make trades with or have had conversations with, that essentially Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt, who they're trying to package. I don't want to trade Jared Vanderbilt unless you get multiple guys, right? Because the problem is right now, Jared Vanderbilt's the only guy you have that does exactly what you need. Right? And Lakers still need other guys despite that. It's not like, if we get a Herb Jones and get off of Vando, yes, you'd be better, but is it enough? And you still need another guy or two, right? But if the Lakers were to say, just for argument's sake, say they traded for Herb Jones, they landed Jonathan Kuminga, and they went and got a Keon Ellis, then yes, I think you can justify getting off of Jared Vanderbilt, because you'd have, Herb Jones, Jonathan Kuminga, Keon Ellis, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, right? Like, at that point, you have enough, even a dude Thero that could open the door for maybe some more Thero minutes. So I do think that there is an argument in that sense. But if we're just, the reason the Lakers want to trade Jared Vanderbilt is because of the salary that they take on. Again, what's the general consensus that's coming out? Lakers want to keep the cap, they want to keep the cap preserved. They don't want to tap too much into that cap space, so they can kind of build and do what they want to do, which I get to an extent. My thing is, if you can get the players now, get the players now, right? And then whatever's left over, you just upgrade around the margins, right? Like, if you can get a Herb Jones, a Keon Ellis, a Kaya Baji, Jonathan Kuminga now, yeah, some of that will mess into your cap space, but those are all guys you're trying to get in the offseason anyway, right? And those are all guys that could help you now, and you can kind of then spend the rest of this year to gauge and evaluate, okay, what else do we need type thing, right? So to me, if you can get the pieces now, get the pieces now. But Lakers essentially, let's say Miles Bridges making $25 million, right? They could do like a Rui and Gabe Vincent and get that. But now next season, his contract does drop, but just, I guess you could still use that. So his contract drops to just under 23 million. So let's say Bridges, is 23 million. If you have Jared Vanderbilt, that's 23 million that's hitting your cap. Lakers are projected to have 55 million, right? But if you're able to get off of Jared Vanderbilt, then Jared Vanderbilt's 12 million next year. So basically half of Miles Bridges, in theory, in concept, half of Miles Bridges' money is still being taken off the books. That's the idea, right? So if we're going to take on a player that's going to have a contract into next season, we need to get off of Jared Vanderbilt so we can bring in that guy. So keep that in mind. Even for guys like Andrew Wiggins, so on and so forth, that the Lakers are probably going to trade Jared Vanderbilt, which again, I am not a fan of unless you end up getting multiple guys, right? Again, if you get a Herb Jones and a Miles Bridges and like a Keon Ellis, like I said, then yes, I think it's justified. At that point, I do think you can have that. But anyway, I want to get into the chat here for a second. Super chat questions, all the regular chat questions. Let's get into all that. I just wanted to kind of bring everyone up to speed. Obviously, we're getting information regularly. It's getting that time of year. I want to start doing more regular, just like trade conversation. Try to maybe do like a weekly roundup or something like that. But anyway, let's get into all the chat questions real quick. Hit that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button for me. And let's dive into it. Black Up. What's going on, buddy? Update me. Is AR gone? Do you have to bully someone else now? What are the deeds? So Austin Reeves, no, he's not going anywhere. The belief is that the plan is to pay him in the offseason, that he's going to get his 40 million. There was some recent news about that. Kind of feels like it came out because of the Rich Paul thing, right? There's just a lot of kind of noise around that. So, what's going on, Zuma? Appreciate you filling us all in. Water is what's here. It's not even a post game stream. Why like water is wet is here? I understand at a post game where the Lakers lose, it's like I'm gonna troll, but man, in a trade discussion stream, right? Like, wow. I guess the dedication is real. I respect it. I respect the dedication. Trade for Peyton Watson. Give the Nuggets 2 first draft picks. Problem is, 1, Lakers don't have 2 first. So can't do that. 2, I mean, I don't think even if Denver does lose him in the offseason, I don't think they'd trade him. Like, even if they think like, hey, we're not going to be able to pay him, we're going to lose him, I don't think they'll trade him because he's been so good for them this year. I think they'll look at it as like, let's try to win this year. Right? Denver might be the best team in basketball, like genuinely. Every year they're in that conversation, but they were really good. I don't see a path to Peyton Watson. I don't. Even if the Lakers go and say turn 1 first into several, I don't. The only way I see Peyton Watson becoming a Laker is in the offseason, and you basically just throw a bunch of money. I've talked about for Peyton Watson, if I'm the Lakers, right? Like, I'm throwing like 25 to $27 million contract, but like I would have it to where like it trickles down each year. You're allowed a certain percent. So, you see those contracts where it's like, 25 million, 23 million, 21 million, 19 million. I would do something like that. Like, what's the amount that Denver can't match? Right? What's the amount that Denver just like goes, man, and I would throw that at him, right? Here's, again, 27 million. We'll give it to you right now, but each year it's going to drop to 2.5 million, whatever it is, right? Because let's say he's around like a 22 to 25 million, like that would be the thing. We're going to give you front loaded, and then it'll trickle down each year. Because, Peyton Watson, he might end up being your second best player. Like, that dude's like really, the guy looks unbelievable. Let's see. King Goku. Love it. Love the name. Hi, as it stands, any player that you think our Lakers should stay away from? From like the players that have been linked to the Lakers, no, like there's guys like, we've heard about, Lauri Markkanen. Like, I'd stay away from him. Like, in concept, in theory, he's, great, give you 3-point shooting, won't take away from Luka LeBron and Austin Reeves, all that. But his contract is insane. Like, I would stay away from like too hefty of contracts and like, again, like guys that aren't again athletic, right? Like guys that don't really solve. I don't think the Lakers are far. Like, I know it seems like it at times. I know, like, again, you look at this Lakers team, it's like, dude, we need to just trade everybody and start over. But really, again, you add the right 2 or 3 guys, all of a sudden, Lakers, again, you got to keep in mind, it's a 5-on-5 sport. Especially come playoff time, you're only running 8 or 9 guys anyway. So if you change, say, 3 guys in that top 8, say Hayes is your 9th guy, you're almost a completely different team at that point, right? So there's no one that the Lakers are linked to that like I would stay away from, right? Like, give me Ayo, give me, Tari, give me like any of these guys, right? Like, because they're all guys. Luckily, they're all like. Good thing is it seems the Lakers are aware and know what they need, which is good, right? Because sometimes you'll hear like, oh, Lakers are targeting this guy. It's like, why? Right? Like, so luckily we haven't heard that. Herb is coming to the Lakers. Book it. I mean, at some point I wouldn't be surprised. Again, unless the Lakers get creative, or look, maybe the Pelicans drop their price. It's very possible, right? It's like, hey, he hasn't been playing. Right. When he has played, he hasn't been as good as he has in past years. Right. You're not getting 2 first. Maybe the Pelicans survey the market. The last reports we got coming out of New Orleans was that they're not trading anybody. They're going to keep everybody because they didn't like the offers they were getting. It's one thing to say that a month into it. It's another thing once you actually get there to the trade deadline and it's like, okay, well, maybe we will take it. So either the Pelicans need to drop their price to a first, or the Lakers need to do something where they turn 1 first into multiple, right? But again, nothing surprises me. Yeah, like never say never. That's why I'm very like, say it all the time. Like I don't like to speak in definitives, especially when it comes to sports, especially when it comes to basketball, because the thing that you think is least likely to happen is usually the thing that ends up happening. Right? Like again, so I don't think it's something that. It's not impossible. It's not something that like, oh my God, how did that happen? Right. But I think it's unlikely. Right. I just don't want people to get their hopes up is what I'm saying. All I know is the Suns want to hang on Drew Dillon, the villain. Yeah. Which I don't blame him. Right. I mean, his antics are a little obnoxious sometimes, but like, look, he's a winning player. Everywhere he goes, the teams get better. I mean, Houston replaced him with Kevin Durant, and they're worse this year. Like he's a guy that just he knows his role. He plays his role. Would you throw $20 million at Peyton? Do you think Denver would match at $20 million? Yes. The question is, will Denver go into the tax? Because they have for years avoided that. So, but Peyton has been so good. Do they do that? Do they get off of somebody like a Christian Brown or something like that? Or Braun, right? Do they get off of somebody like that instead? Right? Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing. But to me, Peyton's been so good, and he's the exact type of player we need. He's young. I mean, he's young enough to be the guy like in a post Luka era, even. Like if he actually like continues to project the way he's projecting, right? Like I just like I said, I think you just throw a super high, AV at him and have it where it just trickles down each year. So again, you throw, like I said, 27 million at him, and then and just tempt like, hey, you really gonna match that? Because like I said, Lakers could throw say 27 million at him and still have almost 30 million in cap space, right? Like so. And then if they end up matching it, then I'd throw like 20 at like Tari Eason, and then same thing. Like here's 20, but then it's going to go to 18, 16, 14, right? Like something like that. And then again, make them match it. If they don't, then they don't. And you come up. If Pelinka gets rid of Vando, he's simply a dumb and he should be fired immediately. Again, it depends what the end result is, right? If it's just like, hey, we're going to turn Vando and Rui into, you know, Andrew Wiggins, yes. Like that is like, what are you doing? Right. But again, if the Lakers were to say trade for Jonathan Kuminga, get a Herb Jones, and then get a, you know, a Keon Ellis. There we go. Like now it's justified because now you have two better wings that are going to give you the same thing he does, but more offense. And then, like, are you playing Vando over Marcus Smart? Probably not. You playing Vando over Jake LaRavia? Absolutely not. Are you playing Jared Vanderbilt? Like, who are you playing Vando over at that point? And you could argue you could keep him and just let him play spot minutes. But again, you're paying him $11 million a year to play 8 minutes a night, right? And next year it'll be $12 million. So, but again, if you just get one guy, right? Like, let's say they just turn, you know, Vando and Connect into Herb Jones, then yes, I think that like it's like, yeah, like what are you doing? Why are you trading him? Like at that point, I think it's foolish, you know. So again, it just depends on what is the end result, right? Like do they get multiple guys or is it just one guy? You know, are they basically just replacing him? 33 out of the 55 approximate is not worth a first guy. 22, sorry. 22 out of 50. So 22 out of 55 approx is not worth a first guy. I'm not. I'm trying to. Are you saying like the targets that Lakers have? Because Lakers have Lakers are target a lot of guys. I mean, most of the guys based on Trae Young and what Ja Morant is going for, none of these guys are worth a first. There's not a guy on the market that isn't worth the first. You know, it's like you want a first for Herb Jones and you have all stars, Peyton or Herb. Peyton. If I let's say both are the same, like I could get both for the same. Peyton Watson. He's younger. He's just projected to be better. He's a better shot creator. Herb Jones, you could argue is a better, slightly better defensive player. But yeah, give me that. So in your opinion, what should Lakers go after before or during February 5th trade deadline? Couple things, right? One, what's actually available. It's one thing to hear all the reports. I say it all the time. Like, take all the stuff with a grain of salt. We don't know what's actually available. Right now, you need guys to drop their price. To me, again, if you can't get creative, like teams aren't willing to work with you in that regard to go get a Herb Jones or something like that, then you can go get the second tier guys. I'd be targeting guys that Lakers need to identify a few things, right? If it's me, if I can get the right guys, I don't mind taking on money next year, right? Like Terrence, if I can get Terrence Mann for free because I'm helping them get off of his money, right? Like, and maybe get, you know, a Haywood Highsmith in the deal because it's like, dude, I'm taking on an extra 14 million next year. Like, to me, it's worth it, right? Because in free agency, you're trying to get that guy. I get the Lakers not wanting to disrupt their potential offseason. If nothing's there, again, I'm one of those people. No trade is better than a bad trade. Stay the course, be patient, right? If nothing's there, don't force it, right? Or if you have to, like, why would I overpay for a Keon Ellis when I not only run the risk of him just leaving in the offseason, but I could just sign him, right? To me, I'd be trying to find those guys. Like, if I I'd be looking for guys with small cap hits, Keon Ellis, right? Because, for example, if I could trade for Keon now, like what's the argument to trade for Keon when you could just sign him in the offseason? Because his cap hit is so small, right? So let's say he's going to get, just for simple math, $10 million, right? Well, if I only have 55 million and I give that 10 million, right? Well, now I only have 45 million. But if his cap hit is only 5 million, then as long as he's the last thing I do, him and Austin Reeves are the last things I do, then I actually have 50 million to spend. That could be the difference between another guy or not, right? Like, so I'd be targeting guys like that, targeting guys like Kaya Baji, who is on, a restricted contract, guys like that. I'd be trying to get those second tier guys, because if you can get 3 or 4 second tier guys, that might be enough to propel the Lakers into contention this season. And you go for it this year. And then in the offseason, all the money that I have, because I already have the second tier guys, I would go and throw money at a Peyton Watson, Ataris, and these kind of guys, right? Like throw money at the guys that could be that clear cut guy. I also still really love the Brooklyn Nets trade. Just saying. All right, go do the Nets trade. That'd probably be another thing I'd be trying to do. Herb averages 8 points a game in the last 10 games. Again, context is important, right? He's on a terrible team with no playmaking and no shot creation. Most of the things that he has to do himself is very thin. Not just that, Lakers, I know right now it looks like they need scoring, but you get guys that can be a threat from the perimeter. That opens things up for DeAndre Ayton. That makes things easier for Luka, LeBron James. You get the defensive guys, which create the turnovers, which get you into transition, right? Like, again, Lakers need the defense. They need the two-way pieces. If you're expecting Herb Jones to get traded and come to Lakers and be a 15 to 20 point a game guy, you're going to be incredibly disappointed, because he's not there for that, right? He's there to do the margin plays, be the best defender, defend the best player on the other team, and trickle in 8 to 12 points a night, right? Like, look at, the 2020 roster. It wasn't Avery Bradley and these guys weren't averaging 15 points a game. No, Alex Caruso wasn't putting up 15, 20 points a game. Like, they were there for a specific role, because you had everything else. You had LeBron and AD and all that stuff. Like, Herb Jones is there for a specific role. You can't, you're not going to have 7 guys averaging 20 points. It's not going to happen, right? So, again, you need those role guys. Right? Herb Jones, if he's averaging 8 points a game, right? But he's, a plus 20 every night because he's our best utility guy and defending the best player and translating to wins, and who cares? Right? There's more to the game than scoring. I'd like him in that at least 12, 13 range, obviously. But again, if he's coming to play a very specific role. But you got to keep in mind, again, a lot of what Herb Jones has to do is self-reliant. Right? He's not that guy. Right? He's not a Trey Murphy, Andrew Wiggins. He is more of that spot up, catch and shoot 3-and-D style guy. Right? So again, Pelicans don't have any playmaking. Go look at the one year that they actually had kind of a playmaker. Herb Jones shot I think it was 40% from 3-point range and was actually really good. Herb Jones alongside Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves is very different than Herb Jones slotted alongside Fears, who's a rookie. So things like that. Got to keep in mind. Would you trade Reeves for a first in Kuminga? Think I would do it to get starting level wing and another big? No. I'm not against trading Austin Reeves at all. It has to make sense. I'm also not against keeping Austin Reeves. Right? Again, I'm one of those people. No one is really untradeable. Right? You get the right deal, it makes sense, right? But Kuminga has you could argue Kuminga has the worst value in the league. Right? Austin Reeves has some of the best value in the league right now. There are teams that are desperate. I've talked about, if you really want to trade Austin Reeves, I'm calling Houston right now, who is in a worse spot than the Lakers are and desperate and really need. Austin Reeves could make Houston potentially, if Austin Reeves can continue to play to the level that he's playing, could make Houston the best team in basketball, or one of the best teams in basketball. Right? But they have exactly what this Lakers team needs. If I'm going to trade Austin Reeves, problem is, and I've talked about this, right? It's real. Austin Reeves is so cheap right now. It's almost impossible to get the value that you need, right? You'd have to add other guys. So right now, Warriors could call and be which I don't think Reeves makes a lot of sense for the Warriors, to be honest. But whatever. Warriors call right now and go, we'll give you Kuminga and 5 first-round picks just for Reeves. You can't do it, right? So again, the Timberwolves could call and be we'll give you, Jaden McDaniels and 5 first. You can't do it, right? So if you're going to trade him, it's probably best to trade him in the offseason when you can sign and trade and get $40 million worth of value. But to me, it's just if you're going to trade Reeves right now, you have to really maximize that value. one first in Kaminga is not maximizing that value, in my opinion, especially when there are teams that are desperate. And Reeves might, again, what he was doing is like MVP level numbers, right? Like, and he's not on a bad contract. He's not any like, again, and so to me, he has some of the better value, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, like he does, right? Doesn't matter what we think. It matters what is the perceived value. And he has a ton of perceived value right now. Teams would probably sell a lot. He would get more of a return than Ja Morant and Trae Young would get right now. Right. So again, like you have to maximize it. So if I'm trading him, I'm calling somebody like Houston and I'm going, I want Jabari Smith, Tari and like a Jay Sean Tate. Right now you got 3 wings. You get a young 3-and-D wing, and then you get your kind of ideal starting 3. I mean, you could literally start all 3 of those guys, or 2 of those guys. Jay Sean Tate come off the bench. Now you have a veteran 3-and-D guy off the bench. I would do something like that, right? Like here's Reeves, and then we get 3 guys, and they would probably do it. Right? They might actually even give up more because they're just in such a bad spot. But anyway, great question. Lakers need someone who truly moves the needle, someone who can defend and shoot, someone athletic, and someone who has strong motor or motivation. Problem is, like, again, there's very few guys. Again, never underestimate the value of one guy, but like, there's very few guys that are available that realistically, again, Lakers do some magic, get some things done, then sure, maybe that changes. But like right now, you're probably looking at multiple guys to really make the difference, right? Unless the Lakers end up going and pulling off, like I said, trading one first for multiple firsts and all this stuff. Like as it stands, pun intended, right? You're probably like a Keon Ellis who fits all that, can shoot the basketball, defend, athletic, chase down, win 50-50 ball, stuff like that. Like he's probably not enough to make that impact guy. Like Herb Jones, I think would move the needle quite a bit, but I don't know if he by himself moves it enough to make the Lakers contender. But if you get Herb Jones and, like I said, a Kaminga, then yes, that could be the difference. Or Herb Jones and maybe Keon Ellis, because again, multiple guys, now that's multiple guys in the rotation. Now that slots guys down into like what their pecking order is, stuff like that. Rob, you're on the clock. Yes. Got to get something done. Let's see. Vando gone. He might, it's looking that way. It's looking like they're trying to get off of him if they're going to go trade for a higher end wing. So we'll see. Obviously, again, it just it depends on what ends up becoming available, what ends up getting done, so on and so forth. Lakers have a junkyard of contracts. Lakers' best value is arguably their expirings. We're in a market right now that is putting a premium on expiring contracts. Like Lakers are sitting on gold. That's why you keep hearing reports that, like, you know, Lakers should be able to make some plays. Problem is the Lakers don't want to. They don't want to maximize those guys just to maximize. Like they want to preserve the cap space in the offseason unless they can get the guys. Let's see. Rui and Connect for Kaminga. Gabe and Vando to the Bulls for Vu. I would that. Somebody asked me earlier who's somebody I'd stay away from. Vucevic. Lakers get their wing and a backup center. Yeah, I can't pay $20 million and trade our, like, again, Jonathan Kuminga by himself isn't solving all our athletic issues. Jackson Hayes has been more than enough as a backup center. I mean, he's been so good. Like he's been closing games over Ayton, and rightfully so. You can't trade $20 million in salary to go get Vucevic. And Chicago's probably going to want something like, why? Vu is an expiring contract, right? Like, so again, I'm swapping expirings for what? Like, again, you'd have to find something that makes sense. No, I'm trading Rui and Gabe for Kuminga, and then I'm turning Gabe, Vando, and my first into something else, right? Ideally, 1 or 2 guys. I couldn't. Again, you're talking about another, backup center, he can score, so that, but like Lakers, if you're gonna get a backup center, you need a shot blocking center. Like you need somebody that can come in and block shot. Like Vucevic is arguably the worst defensive center in the league, right? Like you're talking about another slow, unathletic player. Like that's the last thing the Lakers need right now. I get the idea as far as like guy that can make plays out of the post, score the basketball, you can dump the ball down to, you can go to work type thing. I get some of that, but I just question. Is there any possible future? Think we just wait. Free agent signed Peyton Watson and Tari Eason, both assuming outside of AR. Let's say team friendly 35 million. We don't re-sign anyone. 53 million cap right there. So Lakers are we don't know exactly the dollar amount that the Lakers will have, and because we don't know what the cap is actually going to go to, but it's projected around 55 million. So Lakers would projected to have about 55 million in cap space. Is it possible that they go like there is a genuine argument? I've talked about this before. I had somebody ask me in the post game stream last night, right? Like, would I be mad if the Lakers just stood pat and go into the offseason? Mad isn't the word. I would be disappointed, but out of every, and I get like the whole Rob, like, oh, you can't buy a house that's not for sale type thing. Like, I get the frustrations from the fan side of things, but if there was ever an offseason to just sit on your hands and go into that offseason, it's this trade deadline into the offseason. This is the first time since that 2019 season where the Lakers will have the stars, the cap space, and the assets to go get essentially whatever they want. Right? Like, I mean, you could theoretically, depending on how much you have to pay everybody, I mean, you could throw out a team of Luka, Austin Reeves, Tari Eason, Peyton Watson, and like Nick Claxton and be probably the best team in basketball and still have guys like Ayo Dosunmu and stuff like that off the bench, right? On top of Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt. Like, you know, again, it depends on how much those guys are being paid. Or again, maybe it's like a Herb Jones and a Peyton Watson, right? Or a Herb Jones and a Tari Eason or something like that, right? And then if you wanted to, you could even sign and trade Austin Reeves to go get another guy, right? So like, let's say you go and you land, you know, Peyton Watson and, you know, Tari Eason, and then go get maybe sign a Ben Mathurin or whatever. It's just like he's more athletic and better defensively, or Keon or Ayo or something. Like, Lakers would have so many options, so much cap space, so many assets. Like, again, if there was ever an argument, if there was ever a year where it's like it might be best for the Lakers to just go into the offseason, it's this year. My problem is like I know it feels that they're far, but I really don't think they're that far. And if you can get some of those guys, because I mean, look at all the guys that the Lakers are linked to. They're all free agents in the offseason, right? Like almost everybody the Lakers are linked to, outside of like Herb Jones, are all free agents in the offseason. Even Miles Bridges is on his final year next year, right? So you're talking about like why overpay for these guys if you can land these guys? I don't want to overpay for these guys. But if you can get these guys for reasonable value, there is value in getting them now because I mentioned it earlier, using Keon Ellis as an example, his cap hit is so small. So let's say you sign Keon Ellis for 10 million, right? Well, now you only have 45 million to spend. But if his cap hit is only 5 million, well, then now you have 50 million to spend, right? Again, that could be the difference of landing another guy or two or whatever, right? Or throwing more money at a Peyton Watson and a Tari Eason. So, you know why I'm here, Tyler. Lay your best trade package on me. Really, I still really like the Brooklyn Nets. I think the Nets trade is probably the most realistic and probable. But let's assume that the Lakers can go get, trade one first to like a team like the Nets or the Thunder, or, there's a handful of teams that might actually be willing to do so for the Lakers because they just like, especially the Nets. The Nets have a ton of like just like bad firsts that they could kind of cash in and go get like a legit, potential legit Laker first. So to me, let's say they can do that. I am then going after, if again, this is my way, I would go trade for Herb Jones, right? In a perfect world, I'd like Bridges and Kuminga. Give me Bridges, Kuminga, and because Bridges can play either forward spot. Problem is Bridges is making 25 million. Kuminga's making, 22.5 million. So you're talking that's 42.5 million right there. Or sorry, 47.5 million right there. Technically, let's say the Lakers traded say the Lakers traded Rui and Connect for Kaminga, and then they traded, you'd have to basically do Gabe Connect. You'd have to add another guy. So maybe you work it out and take like a Josh Green or something like that. But realistically speaking, right? I realistically, I think if assuming the Lakers can turn one first into multiple, I do think at that point Herb Jones is obtainable. Go get me Herb Jones, Jonathan Kaminga, and Keon Ellis. There you go. Now I think the Lakers have enough to contend. Herb Jones is an average forward. Dude checks out too much. Vando is better. Vando is not better. Herb Jones is genuine. It's like every year in the top. Like there's years that he should have been like all defensive player of the, like all defensive player, not defensive player of the year, but I'm talking about all NBA, like defensive team. Like he is an all defensive type of player. He's one of the best margin guys in basketball. Vando is in that regard too, but Herb Jones is he's not an average forward. He's better than average. He is like, as far as like that, just like 3-and-D guy. Again, you're looking at a role player on a bad team that doesn't have shot creation or anything else, right? PJ Washington was looked at as a really backup fringe starter who didn't play defense at all and went to a team like Dallas and became literally their defensive anchor, their best perimeter defender, and everything that team needed. Again, it's different when you're on a team that's tanking for the bottom, and then you also add in, you have zero shot creation, right? Like the quality of looks Herb Jones is going to get alongside Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves are vastly different than the quality of looks that he's going to get alongside, Fears. Right? It's not even in the same stratosphere. Now, is he worth 2-3 first? No, right? Especially not in today's marketing climate. But Herb Jones is a very good basketball player. Again, people look at the box score and think that they know a guy, right? Like, oh, like somebody said earlier, he's only averaged 8 points the last 10 games. Again, they're not bringing him in to be a 15 to 20 point a game guy. Miles Bridges is averaging 20 a night, right? If the Lakers trade for him tomorrow, realistically speaking, he's probably not averaging 20 this year, right? Like, again, you need guys that can. Lakers' problem isn't offense. They need the defense. They need the two-way guys. They need a guy that can apply pressure out on the perimeter. You get 2-3 guys that can do that. DeAndre Ayton will be better offensively. Luka will be better offensively. LeBron will be better offensively. Austin Reeves will be better offensively. Jake LaRavia, all these guys. Because, again, my big thing with Ayton, right? I did a whole video breaking it down. And then the exact thing I said happened. And I had to do another video going, see, right? Look, think of when DeAndre Ayton was at his best on Phoenix. They had Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, right? Like they had several guys. So all DeAndre Ayton had to do was worry about the paint, scoring in the paint and defending the paint. He didn't have to go and defend out on the perimeter and only play and drop and do all this. Like, no, he was able to play his exact role. And he was, the pick and roll would be so much better. Like all of it. Right? To have a guy like Herb Jones out there, the gravity that he does. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's averaging like 2 steals a game. And again, like go look up his defensive metrics. Just watch him play. The problem is a lot of people only watch Herb Jones when he plays the Lakers. So like they're getting one game and going like, oh, he's trash, right? Like, again, you got to actually watch or look into it, right? Do your homework, do your research. Because to say he's an average forward is just, it's inaccurate. It just is. It's inaccurate. What would your ideal, yeah, I think you're saying ideal roster after the trade deadline? Again, probably Herb Jones, Jonathan Kuminga, and Keon Ellis. I think that those 3 guys give you enough to really put that over. Lakers should stand pat. We are not winning with LeBron. We can't be delusional. At best, Lakers' second exit. We grab Herb Jones and Kuminga, and we are still not going to win it this year. I don't know. Never say never. Lakers are far from LeBron being the biggest problem, right? Again, I'm not against trading LeBron, but people act like trading LeBron fixes everything. Like it doesn't. Like we're not better without LeBron. We're not. Thoughts on Keegan Murray? I'd stay away from him personally. His contract is kind of crazy, but maybe you won't have to give up much. I personally know he doesn't give you the consistency defensively that they need. Like he's like a slightly more athletic Rui. Stay away from Jaren Jackson Jr. Yeah, that's not wrong. I like some deal with the Nets, something like Cam Thomas, maybe one of their centers. Yeah, I think the Nets, Sean Marks and Rob Pelinka have a great relationship. I think, I mean, they have the pieces to solve a lot. Realistic free agent signings, 20 million or less, are Cam Thomas, Grimes, and Mathurin this offseason. Lakers should throw 30 million per year at Kessler. I don't know if you could throw 30 million per year at Kessler. That's a lot to throw at Kessler. I mean, again, you look talk about like the going rate for centers right now is like 18 to 22 million. You're paying him 8 million more. I get you might have to do it to get him off of that. At that point, you're almost better off trading for Nick Claxton, who's on a depreciating contract and still young enough to where you can pay him on his next contract and give you similar versatility. And I think you could get him for nothing and then just throw the money at Peyton Watson and stuff. I'm not paying anywhere near 20 million for Cam Thomas. Quentin Grimes might get that. Quentin Grimes is good and team might do that. Mathurin is still Mathurin I'd be a little iffy on. Cam Thomas, I'd be shocked if Cam Thomas gets more than like 12 million a year. Like his perception is not good. Grimes and Mathurin are probably in that like 15 to 20 million range. Personally, I'd rather, like I said, throw money at like the bigger fish. Herb is getting 22, and that could get Peyton. Yeah, but you could trade for Herb and still go get Peyton. I think we need a 3 and D wing or 2. I think like Kuminga and Herb might be enough to completely revamp this team. But like I said, in a perfect world, give me like 2 or 3 guys. What's good, man? Tyler, wasn't expecting a live tonight. Man, we need so much. Luke out tomorrow, so probably another loss. We got to do something, bro. Have to make some moves and hopefully save the season. Yeah. We might not even have a center tomorrow. Ayton and Hayes are both out. We might be running Drew Timmy 48 minutes tomorrow. A lot of small ball. Tomorrow might be rough, man. But yeah, I talked about it in the post game stream. I said I was going to do a live stream tonight in the post game stream. I think I talked about it later though. So, but regardless, I wanted to kind of do a live stream. I was going to do it yesterday before the game, but then I had some things come up, so I wasn't able to do it. So I was like, I still want to do the stream. So I was like, let's do it today. Let's see. I bet they regret Brown's contract, 120 million, and he's averaging 11 points per game. I mean, he was really good last year for them. Problem is, like, if Peyton Watson was average, then probably not. But like now that Watson's been really good, it's kind of like it's tough. Peyton Watson was always a great defender, but now that he has his offense flowing, he's looking elite. Dude, the guy's been ridiculous. I would love Kuminga, Ellis, and maybe in a Caro or somehow you could pull that off. Hopefully we can get multiple first with our first and get some deals done that way. I agree. We need that. We need it. I could see Lakers sign and trade LeBron this offseason to a team he wants to go to, Cavs, Warriors, Knicks, or any other contender can offer more than MLE. LeBron is still money hungry. If LeBron ends up wanting to go, like, let's say to the Cavs in the offseason, then yes, I think that Lakers would probably work off a sign and trade with him. Just depends on where he wants to go, what he wants to do. I've said I don't mind keeping LeBron. He just can't make 50 million. If LeBron's willing to take 15, sure, 20, probably worth 20 million, but 20, 25 million range. But Lakers need a lot. Like, they need to revamp this roster. Vando has 2 more years. Yes. Man, I wish basketball was like baseball, Dodgers signing everyone. If only the Lakers could do that. It used to be like that. Get Giannis, Jokic, would be everyone. Yeah, it used to be like that. That's why they changed it. What about PJ Washington? He got any value for the Lakers goal? Yeah, he's got a ton. The question is just, would Dallas trade him to the Lakers? Is the question. Lakers would probably have to greatly overpay for PJ Washington. But I mean, PJ Washington's a guy that makes sense. Again, gives you a legit two-way guy, knock down the three ball. I'm not giving up Vando other than maybe Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. But even then, I try to keep him. He's a dog, and the only one we have and probably will have. Yeah, I mean, again, it just depends on what. Yeah, if you're trading him just to land one guy, then no. I think it'd be a little foolish. But if you're trading him to get, and you end up ultimately getting, like I said, if you get Kuminga, Herb, and Keon Ellis, then yes, that now it's justified. Lakers decide. I hope this isn't the case to punt the season. The only good thing we have our pick. I just hope we don't punt because Luka won't be happy, and I'm sure wasting the season. Yeah. Problem is, like, I've seen people throw out, and I made a video about it earlier just because I thought it was a good talking point. A lot of people go like, Lakers should kind of tank this season because they have their pick. Problem is, Lakers are so far away from the bottom that, like, it wouldn't make sense. Lakers would still, and you'd essentially have to sit Luka and Austin Reeves and everybody all season, which Austin Reeves isn't going to want to do because he's about to get paid an insane amount of money. So, yeah, I don't see the Lakers tanking bottoming out. Is there a world that we might trade for Ja Morant? I sure hope not. Looks like he's going to be cheap, very athletic, and new start. Imagine the highlight dugs. That's probably all you're going to get. A bunch of highlight dugs. No, that would be. I would stay as far away from Ja Morant as possible. If we didn't have Luka, maybe it's worth the conversation, but. We should go for Miles Bridges, borderline all-star 4 team. He is my favorite target. I've talked about that a lot. He's the guy that I keep trying to speak into existence. Trey Murphy and Peyton, yes. Or you said Trey Murphy or Peyton. The way Peyton's playing, that's getting tough. But Trey Murphy has been a little more, you have a little more sample size of what he's been able to do. He's also like 6'10". Who should we keep currently on the team if salary is not going to be much of an issue this offseason? Let's be honest. It doesn't look like Lakers are making a big trade. Who should the Lakers keep? I mean, all the guys that are in trade talks, they shouldn't. Like, obviously, Luka, Austin Reeves, why am I blanking on his name? Jake LaRavia, there we go. Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes, I wouldn't mind doing something like they did this year where you like bump him up slightly, right? So he goes from like $3 million to say $5 million because that gives you a $5 million expiring contract to trade if you need it. Just gives you some flexibility, and he's been really good with Luka. Kind of like your core guys are fine. It's just the pecking order, right? Like, Jake LaRavia right now. I talked about in the offseason, don't be shocked if he's our starter midway through the season. And he is. I've been like spot on with Jake LaRavia. But like in a perfect, ideally, you kind of want him to be your, that secondary wing, right? So, for example, say Marcus Smart was Herb Jones. Jake LaRavia would be much better and more impactful in that starting unit, right? Ideally you want him to be your secondary wing, or you want him to be, your primary rotation wing, not your starting wing, right? So again, you go get the right guys, it knocks the pecking order down. So now, again, you get a Herb Jones. Herb Jones is your starter. Now, a Jake LaRavia gets to now be that primary rotation wing. Right. So now the production he's giving, so the inconsistent offensive nights aren't as harmful and impactful to you. And the nights that he's cooking and killing, you play him more. He becomes more heavily played, right? Like, again, it just depends. All right, let's get man, I think the Lakers are cooked. I mean, it feels that way right now. But like I said, again, don't underestimate. You never know. Are there any trades that are about to happen right now? I mean, probably not. More likely than not, if something happens, it'll probably be like either at or like right around the trade deadline. Because Lakers are trying to do all these other little things. Like, could they maybe go get a minor trade? Sure. Right. If any trade is going to happen soon, it's probably the Kuminga trade. Right. Like if the Lakers are going to do anything soon, it's probably going to be landing Jonathan Kuminga. Like that's based on the news that, again, what's the consensus? Based on kind of the consensus that we're seeing, Kuminga's probably the most likely. Let's see. Would like CP3 off of a buyout if we open a raw spot, need a floor general when Lucas sits. Well, I mean, Austin Reeves healthy. That's what he's supposed to be. Right now, it's like I'm not gonna lie, right now, Chris Paul would help because it would take pressure off LeBron and Luca. But healthy, like he's probably never seen the court. Let's see. I would go after Kuminga, but I would only buy cheap because nobody seems to be interested. Yeah, I'm not trading my first and all this other stuff. Like if I'm getting Kuminga, I'm getting him cheap. Like it's a buy low type of deal that still gives you the flexibility. Peyton has very high ups, has a very high ceiling, and we're seeing Herb ceiling. Yeah, again, one guy has star potential, one guy's a role player. Right, very different. But again, you can't have 5 stars on your team. It doesn't work. I mean, think of some of the teams that the Lakers have had over the years, and it just didn't work, right? Like, on paper, it's like the greatest team ever assembled, and it just didn't work, right? Because you need the complementary players and pieces. But landing Herb Jones doesn't prevent you from getting a Peyton if you can. Not just that, it also gives you insurance in case you can't get a Peyton or Tari Eason or something like that. My Warriors are getting Murphy. I don't know about Murphy. It looks like they might get Michael Porter Jr. though. Imagine Clay gets released and comes to La La Land. So there was a report. I don't remember who it was from. I didn't even talk about it because I really don't think that happens. I don't mind exploring things and diving into things, but there was a report that if Clay gets bought out, the first thing he's doing is signing with the Lakers. I don't know why Dallas would do that. Like they're not in a position where they need to, or they have to, or they want to. He only has his expiring contract next year, if I'm not wrong. So like you could probably trade him next season. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like why are they just going to have all that dead money on the books unless Clay is willing to essentially like waive next year's money, just like, hey, just pay me the rest of the money this year, then maybe. But like I just don't see that. So realistically, I don't think that that's an option. But I would love Clay. If that were to happen, I would love Clay. On Dallas, he doesn't look as good as he has in the past, even though he's shooting like 37% on like 9 attempts or whatever, which anybody else would be great. But because it's Clay, people are like, he's terrible this year. Again, Dallas is another team that has zero playmaking. Zero. Right? Like Clay's in his Ray Allen stage. Right? Like Ray Allen was really good for Miami because all he had to do was just spot up in the corner and be a catch shoot guy. Right? Clay, like Dallas needs Clay to be closer to prime Clay, moving and shooting off the dribble and all this other stuff, which he just can't do anymore. But to like have Clay off the bench as just a shooter, like tuck him into the corner. I mean, dude, I wouldn't be shocked if Clay's back to like 42% from 3-pointer. Rui and connect for Kuminga. Yes. Clay's too old. We need defense. I wouldn't trade for Clay, but the question was, if he was bought out, you're getting him on a vet minimum to fill your 15th rush spot. Like, yeah, I would do that. Tyler, if Reeves struggles in the postseason, again, do you think the Pelicans would still trade for him and give up Murphy and Jones? Problem is like, it's not like I've said, where does Reeves go? Like, people don't understand Austin Reeves is going to have a lot of power in the offseason because, like a team like I've talked about. So that very trade to go get Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, Lakers wouldn't. Austin Reeves realistically is probably not going to want to go to the Pelicans, right? So the Lakers would have to like Reeves. Where do you want to go? And then you trade him to that team. Like let's say it's Houston, right? So you just go to Houston, like, hey, we need a bunch of picks and guys, right? So boom, you trade all that stuff, and then you package that stuff to go get a Herb Jones and a Trey Murphy, right? Because realistically, Austin Reeves is probably not going to want to go to the Pelicans. I do have my concerns if Reeves lays another dud in the playoffs, that it could tank his value. I mean, he'll still have good value. And you also got to keep in mind, there's always teams that think that they could do better. 1 and 2, they'll look at it and go like, oh, it's because he's the third guy, right? And LeBron, like last year, what was like the argument? It was, oh, he's the third guy. And in the playoffs, he wasn't able to do what he was able to do, right? His 3-point percentage, or his 3-point attempts shot up because Luka and LeBron dominated the ball more. So Austin Reeves, like there was that argument. Teams will talk themselves into that too, but I do have some concerns. What about trading for Walker Kessler? Walker Kessler is out the entire year. So, and Utah's not going to just give him away, right? Like, they're better off signing and trading him in the offseason for that case. I don't like Kessler's expected to miss till next year. So it's not like one of those things like, oh, maybe we go trade for him and he comes back come playoff time. No, it's not even that. Rui and Connect for 2027 and 2029 third round picks. No, you got to get at least a fifth in that as well, right? The most popular trade names will not happen for the Lakers. Again, don't be surprised. I know like a lot of people make the argument, and look, I've even talked about like, Lakers move in silence, Rob moves in silence, but also a lot of trades have been heavily linked. Now you think of the trades that like came out of left field, right? Like Luka obviously was the big one. Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, right? Like those were the moves that like came out of left field. But Dorian Finney-Smith was talked about for a year and a half. Like the moment he got traded to the Nets, the Lakers were trying to get him. The Utah trade was heavily reported, right? Like, people point at like, the Rob Pelinka's made however it's been 8 trades or whatever. People point at like the 4 that were in silent and go like, oh man, you hear about Herb Jones, that means it's not happening. But they ignore the other as many that weren't in silent and were very public and were talked about for like a year, right? Like, again, the Utah trade was a conversation for like literally a year. It was like dating back to the previous trade deadline. Again, Walker Kessler's out for the year. Herb Jones is basically a younger Dorian Finney-Smith, but you know how badly Lakers could use Dorian Finney-Smith right now? He's a better shooter than Dorian Finney-Smith. Would LeBron be willing to play for 10 to 15 million next season? He's already a billionaire and makes much more money. His other brand deals and investments at this point just care about winning rings. If the Lakers win the championship this year, I do. If Lakers don't, then I don't think he will. Because if the Lakers make the moves and win the championship this year, he gets number 5. He's 1 ring away from tying Jordan, right? So I think he would do whatever it takes in order to get that. And I think he'd look at it and go like, man, if I take 10 million. So like, let's say the Lakers trade for Kuminga, Herb Jones, and Keon Ellis, right? Just use that as an example. And that's enough. And the Lakers end up winning the championship this year. I think LeBron would play like, go make all the moves you need to make. And then whatever's left over, I'll take. Like I could see something like that. But outside of that, short of that, I think he's probably going to want 20. He's probably going to want half. He's probably going to want about 20, 25 million. All right. Which if he wants 25 million, I don't think you can do. If he's willing to take like 18 to 20, then sure. Because he's still good enough, right? And you still have enough to go do everything else that you needed to do. It just depends, but let's see. People said the same stuff about Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Jared Vanderbilt, and D'Angelo Russell. I know obviously we didn't win the championship that year, but those 2 guys were game shit. We went from 2-10 to win a championship. People said the same thing about Drew Holiday. People said the same thing about Aaron Gordon. The perception of Aaron Gordon was terrible when he went to Denver, right? Right player, right role. You know how I could probably name 100 players that people said, oh, he's average, he's not a difference maker, and then goes to the right team in the right situation and changes everything for that team by himself. Austin Reeves is an issue for other teams because no guarantee he will sign in the future. That's why you'd have to trade him to a team that he wants to go to. Let's say Lakers need to get Dodo back. If they can, Houston might trade him at the deadline. Him and Keon Ellis would be awesome. I would love to get Dorian Finney-Smith back. It's funny. There was news right before I came on. I saw it. Houston, there have been talks about Clint Capella, Dorian Finney-Smith, and who was it? It's Clint Capella, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Tari Eason. There we go. That teams have called and tried to acquire those guys or checked in on those guys because there's talks Houston might want to get under the tax. So they might want to clear about, I think it's like $1 million. I think it's a little less than that, but they basically want to get under the tax. I just said AR would fit with Houston, especially in the position they are in. Definitely can use a playmaker. Houston, again, AR to Houston is probably the best place for him to go because they have the size, the length, the athleticism. Like they could give us Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jae'Sean Tate and still have 10 young athletic wings, right? Like they'd be in great shape. Trade Reeves and have resign next year. Yeah, Luka is out tomorrow. He's been dealing with a little issue. But all right. Do a handful of questions and then I'm gonna skate on out of here. Do Warriors not have content creators? That's what I'm saying. Dude, I might need to start a Warrior channel because all the Warrior fans are always in this channel. So it's like, man, that might be an untapped market. I'm over here trying to make a career as a Laker channel, competing with hundreds of Laker channels. I could just go to the Warriors and just be the only one. Right? I could literally just be the only Warriors channel. The way that Warrior fans are in here. I feel Herb Jones is overhyped. I mean, again, he's not a superstar. He's just the exact player that we need. Like, again, I mentioned earlier, if you're expecting Herb Jones to come here and be a 15 to 20 point a game guy, you're going to be disappointed. There's more to the game of basketball than scoring, right? Talking about like literally a fringe, all defensive player that excellent at the dirty work, excellent at the margins. Like, it's just, I'm sure that there's some people. I mean, I don't know. I can't really talk about other people and the way that they're presenting it or whatever, but like Herb Jones is the exact type of player we need. He's young, athletic, versatile. Again, like, I don't know. There could be people that are hyping it up like he's like, oh, Lakers are about to get prime Kawhi. Like, no, he's not that, but he could be a difference maker, right? Is my only thing. So I don't really know. Like, I haven't really seen anybody like overhype. Like, I haven't seen anybody like present it as it's like, oh man, Lakers just pack it in. Lakers are the best team in basketball. I usually see it presented as like, dude, this is exactly what the Lakers need, and he's a long-term answer. Right now, you got your clear-cut starter. Again, I'm sure that there are some people that are like, oh, but again, I think he's exactly what his team needs. Let's see. Herb equals Dorian Finney-Smith. You know how bad the Lakers could use Dorian Finney-Smith right now? Lakers better do something. This is LeBron's last year. I don't think it's his last year in the league, but it's probably his last year with the Lakers. Is Tingus Pinkus going to be getting for Betty's on the dollar? Do you think he's staying around for 20 or 30 million a year? Are you talking about Chris Porzingis? He's an expiring contract. So I've talked about, like, I wouldn't, like, if you can get him for free, it's not a terrible idea, but um personally, I'd probably stay away from it. Trying to find something here real quick. A lot of water is wet. Next season, Lakers better go over the tax, pay this team, and be set for the next 5+ years. If you, I mean, again, there's no problem with that as long as you can build the team that you need, right? Like, if Lakers can build a true contender, then yes, right? Like, let's say Lakers completely revamp this team, right? That's why I've talked about, like, go and have Jackson Hayes, give Jackson Hayes a little pay bump, so he's around 5 million, because what that does is that gives you a guy that you could unload for, like, if you need a minor move or match salaries. If, say a guy doesn't work out, like, let's say you go get Peyton Watson, whatever, Tari's, or let's say you trade for her, right? Let's say you get Peyton Watson, Herb Jones, Keon Ellis, and whatever, Ayo Dosunmu, right? And let's say Keon just isn't working out, right? It's another Gabe situation where it's like the idea was great, just didn't pan out. Well, then now you could go and trade him. Like, so you still want to have some trade flexibility. You still want to have some financial flexibility. But if you can go and put together like a true contending team, then yes, Lakers will be a tax team. It's not so much about being a tax team, it's about the aprons. Right? Like, if you're you don't want to be a second apron team, because you basically are you can't do anything. So cap space is great for teams like Lakers, Miami, Knicks, etc. Teams like Washington, Charlotte, New Orleans. It doesn't help. Nobody wants to go there yet. Yep, the big market teams usually get the guys. Let's do like two more. All this Vandal love is insane, bro. Is a one-way player. Don't get left wide open. It's, again, yes, I understand the issues with him being a one-way player, but he is one of the best just hustle margin guys in the league. Like, his impact is insane. Problem is, he's the only guy we have, and you need to play him like 25 minutes a game. Vando's one of those guys that you want. Here's 12 to 15 minutes. Just lock in. I just need you focused and honed in. I just need you just, giving it your all type thing. So yeah. But oh, this is a good place to end. Patrick, coming out the $5 super chat. Obviously, if I get another super chat, then I'll keep going into the super chats. But outside of that, probably gonna end it here. So yes, outside of super chats, probably gonna end the stream here. Miles Bridges, big homie. I could not agree more. He is my favorite target. Miles Bridges, Rob, stop playing. Bring him in. Who cares about his past? We can win with him big. I've talked about, he is my favorite target. Like, as far as like the 3-and-D guys go, like guys that could be an impact guy, he is. I mean, he's fits the timeline age-wise. He's bigger. He's bigger than Herb Jones and these other guys, right? Herb Jones, Andrew Wiggins, guys like that. Again, height and size are different because people are like, they're all 6'7". Again, 6'7", 205 and 6'7", 230 are very different. You play either forward spot for you, which is nice because it gives you some versatility and some different lineups that you can do. LeBron's out. You can just slide him down to the 4 and not skip a beat, but he could also be your starting 3. He gives you the shooting. He gives you the scoring. He's a guy that I do worry about fully healthy. How much opportunity will he have to create? Right. Next year, I think he'll have a ton. But this year, I kind of worry about, paying a premium for a guy that's like likely going to be your 4th or 5th option. So how much opportunity is he going to get to create? But right now, until like we get fully healthy, I mean, we could desperately use his shot creation and his scoring and stuff. I mean, he'd do wonders for this Lakers team. Yeah, I mean, he's my favorite target. Like he's the guy that I've made videos regularly on. He's the guy I'm trying to speak into existence. Every year I have like that guy that I want to like speak into existence. He's been that guy this year. I just think he's exactly what this Lakers team needs. Brings the size, the athleticism, the two-way play. He's young enough to be, a long-term piece in this foundation. If you do go get a Peyton Watson or a Herb Jones or a, whomever, whatever, right? Then you can see the beauty is like, let's say you go get a Herb. Let's say you trade for him and then in the offseason you trade for or Tari. Let's say you sign Tari. Well, you can just move Bridges to the 4 and then have Tari at the 3. Let's say you go get, a Trey Murphy. Well, Trey's best at the 4. You keep him at the 4 and then have Bridges at the 3. So just that versatility and everything would be great. We're not ending it yet. We got another super chat. So like I said, I will keep adding these. Otherwise, I'm going to skate on out of here. Vucevic from Bulls. So somebody else mentioned this earlier. I would not. I would stay as far away from him. He's making $20 million, right? I get he's a $20 million expiring contract. The problem is that Lakers have so many needs that need to be addressed, and Vucevic doesn't fit any of them. Right? Jackson Hayes has been good enough as a backup center this year. He's actually been better with Luka than even Ayton has been at times. So much so that they've been closing with him. But like Vucevic, again, he would help with your offense. But again, you're talking about another slow, unathletic, non-defensive type of player. And you'd have, like, if he was $5 million, right? Then sure, it's like, hey, you know what? We could use his versatility. Maybe you could get him an attack on a trade. Maybe trade for like Ayo Dosunmu and whatever, Jalen Smith, and then get Vucevic in the process. But at $20 million, I mean, again, you're trading basically your half of your trade pieces in order to get a guy that doesn't really move the needle for you, doesn't fit any of your issues or concerns. And it's just like, where do you slot him in? Right? Like, and then once you get to the playoffs, again, you're probably playing Ayton 35, 40 minutes a night. And then Jackson Hayes probably is going to make more sense. I would stay as far away from Vucevic on the Bulls. I just don't think it makes sense. But anyway, thank you so much, Super Chat. Seriously. Everyone that hung out with me. Like I said, now we're getting to the trade season stuff like that. I'm going to do some more of these live streams. I know I do the post-game streams for those that aren't familiar. I do post-game streams at the end of every game. Game's over, come here and we all talk and hang out. It's a good time. But everyone that hung out for this, I appreciate you guys. Seriously, thank you. Everyone that gave me super chats, thank you so much. Seriously, it helps me out a ton. Good chat, good fun. Hopefully we get something done sooner rather than later. But I will see you all tomorrow for the post-game stream. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me on the way out. You people are beautiful.